I guess it had more to say. Well, welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. I'm your host. Eight Wind is Timeless. I am the holder of the infinite ball game that was created by the Hero Twins. I am also your galactic daddy-o, sitting on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. Oh, that air feels good. It is. It's still 80 some degrees right now. It's like 88, 89 degrees. We had 70% humidity. 70% humidity today. So, and it wasn't even sunny. It wasn't even sunny today. It was a bland day. Oh my goodness. It was hot and steamy. It was hot and steamy. Oh, so just give me a second to see if I can get this all together. I'm doing my thing, so I'm gonna do my thing while you do your thing. All right. Okay. It's kind of cooler to do that. Let me see. Where am I at? Okay, right there is where I want to be. All right. All right, here we go. And our sponsor is Drakkar for the man who has nothing. And it's just I'm doing the water boy thing tonight. It's just strong sugarite H2O tonight. So no beer advertisement. I guess if any advertisement, it would be for. No, these ain't even. No, I couldn't even say that because these are different. So smoke them if you got them. So pop them if you got them. Smoke them if you want them. I'm still smoking. You can believe that. Oh, so PJ, what's happening? Oh, let me check on this phone. TV showed it was still 88. And my air conditioner does not work. And most of the time, I just like my sunroof down anyway. But whew, some days it is you need air because you'll show up somewhere sweaty. It's like you show up somewhere sweaty. So it's still here in Prior Lake. It's midnight and it's still 84 degrees. It was 80% humidity. Okay, so the humidity has dropped to 66%, and that's still quite high. Still quite high. So again, I live in a lake town. So hey, Siova, the technician, thank you for joining me. That last video was priceless. Yeah, it caught him. It really did catch him, Jeffrey. I mean, you can't sit here and say you want everybody locked up and you seeing your son because he was probably doing it then. He was probably doing it then when the Dixiecrat um, when the Dixiecrat was trying to lock brothers up. He said, "Lock the son of a bitches up," and then that's what I don't understand. That people forgot that. This is what he said. He said, "It doesn't matter if you poor. It doesn't matter if you hungry. Lock them up." And he was part of that crime bill that Clinton that they blamed on Hillary not getting in. So, so a lot of people ain't informed. You have a theory for me, Jeffrey? Okay, let's hear it. That's cool. Hey, Sebastian, what's happening? Thank you for joining. And that gets into, kind of how I wanted to start tonight. I really wanted to start. So again, you have to understand what's going on. Now, here in Minneapolis, they give you the guys that they wanted to cut police. And this is what happened. The people that live on the north side that's most affected by the violence, they sued the city police department, or they sued the city to make them hire more police. So they released a bunch more dollars. Now, as my short video said, we had the gang unit here go unchecked for 10 years, and these people amassed a fortune. Again, the brother L that's in singing My Wifey, that's about the best I can say. Somebody told that he wasn't putting his money in the bank, he was just putting it in a box. One of his family members told an informant. The informant went to them and said, yeah, we know where a lot of cash is. So they go in his house and raid his house. No drugs are found, but his money's never returned. He said it was about 30 racks. Never returned. So this is who we have in this city here. Well, again, I live south of the Twin. I live in the Twin Cities, but I live south of Minneapolis, about 20 minutes south of Minneapolis. But this is who the police department is. When they were unchecked, they were one of the crookedest departments in the nation. They finally broke up this gang unit about 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, it could be a little longer, but they were left unchecked. Now, this gets into my point, especially with Chicago. Chicago has been under attack technically by our government since probably the mid-90s. I want to say I went to one of the last, Taste of Chicago's. I went to one of the last Taste of Chicago's that was safe. The very next year, the Taste of Chicago had more killings in that weekend than it was in the war that was in Iran and Afghanistan. It was more killings in Chicago on that day in just 1 year. Taste of Chicago is one of the best in the country. I mean, every block had a stage, and I mean, Chicago has excellent food. But what you have to understand is look up the Black Ops unit in Chicago where they've been snatching people up. No kind of liberties, no kind of trials. It's a black site. And finally people told about this shit and they finally was maybe closed it down. But just as we saw in LA during the early 80s, when the CIA invented crack and the CIA started all the murder in LA, they passed that murder all the way across the country. And they did the same in Detroit. I mean, Al Prophet does show that. Al Prophet shows that these military trained people became murderers in Chicago. Look at Nate. Al Prophet and Nate lying about how Maserati Rick got killed and he's supposed to be Maserati Rick's bodyguard. He lied. If you paid attention to the Times, you catch him in a lie because he doesn't tell you that Maserati Rick got killed at his car wash that he owned. And why wouldn't you have went with him to that car wash that he owned? So to just say he got up and he didn't wake you up is all a lie. And then he tells on himself by saying they told Maserati Rick that they couldn't protect him at the hospital they took him at after he got shot because he didn't get killed. And then they take him to another hospital where a guy just walks up with a doctor's coat on. Nobody looks at him twice and shoots Rick 2 or 3 times while he's in the hospital bed. And Nate knew it. Nate was outside the hospital. So, but my point getting back to all this is the surge in crime is by the police officers and the FBI and CIA. The murders in Chicago, the guns supplied are all by our police. As I told a couple of weeks ago, we see military guns ending up having bodies on them, but they started off as military guns. Guns just don't get up and magically walk away. Now, the second point is how they saying the surge of people just walking into places and stealing shit. But they made a mistake and said it's organized. That's right. It is organized by the local cops because people are feeling you don't need them. Again, what you need is more rescuers than you need cops. When I was a cop, they did all kind of studies that says a motherfucker driving around don't deter nobody. It was one of the greatest resource waste. A cop just fucking driving blindly around. In my first 2 years of being a cop, that's the fuck what we did. We just blindly drove around. Doesn't deter anything. It burns you out really quick. You know, you're doing 200 miles in circles. So what we see is we have groups that work with the local law enforcement, say we're going to attack this store, we're going to take shit out of there, so respond slowly. And that's what we're seeing happen. They're responding slowly. They want people to beg that they need them. Oh, we need you so badly. And what they were going to do here was the right way to go. When it's a domestic, you send counselors in there. When it's mental health, you send counselors in there. You send people that don't have bias, because I ran into a lot of police bias. I had to put a restraining order and end up winning my case against my ex. But there was one instance where she went against it. They didn't even want to arrest her. They told her they didn't even want to arrest her. That's what they told her. They didn't even want to arrest her. That's no knock against her now, but this is just the facts. I'm gonna have to cut that. It's not helping. Not helping my situation. Okay. So this is something that should be considered and looked at. That's where this surge of crime is. It's people working with them, knowing that they got time to go in and go out. Why wouldn't people shoplift so openly before? Because it would be a pretty quick response to them stealing. Now they're saying so much is not a felony. Over $1,000 is not a felony. I don't even think over $1,000 should be a felony. You're stealing property. So again, who does that help when you're stealing? That's, you know. So, what did you say? Have you heard of Admiral Byrd? Let me see. Hey, Gray, thank you for joining. Have you heard of Admiral Byrd in Antarctica and his Battle Earth with the Nazis? Well, he said he met people from Inner Earth and they had ships. Now, someone told me they work with the reptilians. I don't know. I don't know about that. Byrd wasn't no angel himself. He worked with them people, so I don't know. I tend to think that he was part of it, part of misinformation. I'll say this, though, and I don't know if any other spiritually people will say this, but that is also one of the most spiritually stronger locked places that spiritual people have a hard time going through there. There's something there, I'll say, because spiritually you can pretty much go around the world if you have the ability. That place, not so much. Whatever it is, it's some kind of shielding. That's best I can describe it, because you have control to a certain aspect or a certain point, and then it all just becomes like white snow. Like you can't, like it goes where you're just clearly getting a view of the bottom, but then the whole view becomes like a cloud. So it's protected. They said that if you egg, they are showing messing with navies, people from Inner Earth and those ships, and also interdimensional using ships. Okay. But the Dracos are in fact the fallen angels, then they also are Inner Earth. My theory, some of the UFOs are from Inner Earth and some of the reptilians. Well, the only way I would agree there is, as I've said many times, Marduk is supposedly able to live under the ocean. And so it seems like Cleveland is an entry point, and I know Cleveland is the island, but some kind of way it seems like Cleveland is some type of entry point too. So I don't know if there's some kind of connection that he can ride through the continent to go to the coast, but that appears to be an entry point. And I know that's fresh water, but it does seem like that is some type of entry and exit point for vehicles. Granted, could be just Lake Erie, but it seems like from other information, they can go from there to the coast. There's something under where they can go from there straight into the ocean. So you can do your information on that. Again, there's vast amount of points. You could even say the Bermuda Triangle could be an entry point to enter under the ocean as well. So the theory goes into the Philadelphia Project. My talk in New York was basically Stranger Things, and the Philadelphia experiments, time travel, and CERN opening dimensional portholes. Well, remember, when the Philadelphia experiment was done, there was no such thing as CERN. So that was done during World War II. And they said that when they beamed the sheen back, there were people actually in the steel, that it didn't do it right. Sorry for the book. That's what I was thinking. Okay. Yeah, Dr. Blair stuff somewhat. The one, Aggie Pride. I saw some more Aggie gear. They showed somewhere in North Carolina, they were showing more Aggie gear. It's like, oh my goodness. I'm gonna try to get some more Aggie gear this year for sure. There are a lot of inner earth cities. I know this. Is aliens real? Well, I've talked about being plasma blast by an angel, because that's how angels move. They move through the plasma. So that technically angels would be aliens. If you go into your awareness, you start seeing beings as you move through. I just, to make it simple for everybody, say the hallways of awareness, you see beings. Like I was saying before, which book? I guess this is the... Okay. So I go into a lot of bright. Okay. So I go into a room and these three dudes are in there. And this is all shock, but just to give example. But they come out of a wall and they're sitting in a boat laughing, and they're just laughing, and they're laughing crazy. Well, technically they would have been aliens. Now I know that they were these beings, but technically they would be aliens. And so now if you're saying from outer space, that's a different thing. That's a different thing. See, a lot of these people time back. I think what is the one on Netflix, that show, and I think Tenet are starting to release some of this information for you to consider, that they're trying to hedge off some kind of war. I am pretty sure that modern people went back into America and helped Cortez. I mean, it makes no sense. As I was saying in the book my brother gave me, I'm reading, it's over here. It says Cortez had 200,000 Indians or native people helping him. So I don't understand. There's another war where the Spanish was about to be wiped out off of the continent. 30,000 Indians show up. So those kind of things don't make sense without some type of time interference. Hey, MJ, thank you for joining. A lot of things from angels, interdimensional, inner earth, travelers. It's all crazy, but these are also demons. Yeah, demons is not what you think. Ha, you scared me. Ha, hey, D Still. Have you heard about the story of the Navy SEALs killing a giant in Afghanistan? The giant killed a group of Rangers, and they sent SEALs to kill him, red-haired. Yeah, I'm talking about outer space. I don't know, Jeffrey. That kind of is a play on the old giants, and so he was able to kill the first people, but the giant ain't got no technology. So the giant, nobody thought, well, we better make a giant gun, and that the giant could probably carry around a big ass cannon and shoot back at them. So I don't know if the full story is told. Jeffrey, the full story is probably not told. But I answer your CWE. I answer your question. Aliens out of outer space, I think, is still humans. I think it's humans from different times, as Jeffrey was saying, could be different dimensions. That seems to be a thing that happens at least since the 15th century, I'm pretty sure. Well, even as I said before, it appears like once the wizards unfroze, because that's Mother Earth's way of getting back at these motherfuckers, is freezing them. Once the earth unfroze and them wizards got unfrozen, and the first thing they gave them was the gun, and that was really, the gun and the boats was really, and cannons was really the only technology that was ahead of what was in the Americas. That was the only three, definitely. And so it really makes no sense the way America was conquered. It just doesn't. But so are there? So I think it's like I still think it's people. I still think it's people. So so I think it's people from probably the future coming back to help them. That's what it appears like more. Is it possible that Antarctica's hell? Yeah, definitely. Hell is cold. Hell is not warm. It's no way. It's no way. That's what they fear. They fear the cold. They want to stay every, again, what did I say? The troll under the bridge, all this fucked up burning what comes from the mother, burning that in the air. They like that. They like the corrupted water, the corrupted air. They like that. So there are beings that would prefer to live in those environments. So those could be the aliens, and how long they lived here, we don't know. But it appears like it. Jupiter's rising. Remember the one planet kind of looked like Chicago with all the refinery and shit? Well, they kind of are telling you that there are beings that prefer this way of pollution. I mean, just since 1970, 50 years, since my youth, the air quality is so different and much worse. The water quality is so different and much worse. So I think it's still men. Right there's where I want to be. All right. All right, here we go. Not sure why this just came on all of a sudden. There is Drakkar for the man who has nothing. This thing just came on for freaking nothing. 31st century, like Loki and Kane. Hey, Chief Blazing, what's happening? You see, Dane, they was beating him by 30, so I quit watching the game. They said they had a staff and they shot him in the face. He might have known, or anyone in the military. I have a link for you. Okay, send it to me. Antarctica interest in Earth. I don't doubt there's an inner Earth, but again, what's the technology to come? Because there's a sun in the middle of the planet. There's definitely a sun down there. So we have multiple suns. But how do they get through the water to get to it? How do they have that technology? Remember Aquaman, they just barely went through it. It was hardly anything. And then Kong versus Godzilla, they never even showed the water. So they're like just able to go through inner Earth with no water. So, that's not true. So that's why they are terraforming Earth. Yeah. But if it's getting cold, that's to our advantage. That's why it's called the demerge. There you go. Just thought, yeah. Hey, Crazy Sarge, man, sorry. Your friend called me, your partner called me, and I've had stuff to do. I didn't get up till late too. I wish they would have gave me a call yesterday. I was freer. But we're like about an hour apart. I was looking at 45 minutes, but I checked it. I was like an hour apart. So, and my daughter had things tonight, and then I had to cook for my children. So wasn't able to meet up, which is kind of a bummer. And that's one thing that's people, traffic is like, now things are back. Traffic is a bitch around here, especially during rush hour. I mean, rush hour traffic trying to go north at 3 to 6 is you can get caught in a lot of just stand still, because a lot of people in the mornings, north to south, everybody's going south to work into Minneapolis. At night on that part of the state, people are going north to go home. And so that area is, and the way I live, it's like I almost have to do a complete loop around Minneapolis. And then I have to go east for a while and then to go north. So it's quite a ways for me. So just the timing wasn't bad, but I appreciate that he got in touch with me. So 100% people are living. Okay. Inside the earth is too hot. What do you think happened to ancient people? I still don't think we related to them, but we share genes in that aspect. Yeah, that's a good point. This is the thing that we like, even talking about the Omen and the Omic, they lived so long ago that there's really not a lot of traces left, but a few little minor, like the heads, some of their altars, but overall, there's not a lot. I mean, you're thinking like the heads and the altars are only probably about 15-20% of what these people actually were. And we know these people are all up and down. They're found in Mexico. They're found in almost all the islands. So they lived so long ago, we really don't know. So that's the other part of it is when you're talking about like even the Mayans taking the time back to millions of years, what you have to understand is if a civilization disappears and is left unchecked, we know the plants take over. And so given if the plants get 10,000 years, they dominate. That's why when the Europeans came over here, they realized that and they went to destroy the plants, which are the trees. They went to war against the trees and they won. I mean, I was driving near the reservation today and it's a lot of greenery and I look around, but you know what I don't see? I don't see 400 and 500-year-old trees. I see maybe 100-year-old trees. So that shows that even these what looks like a lot of foliage and stuff, this stuff is 100 years old or less. So this is how bad they decimated this country when they came over here. They did the same thing to Europe, decimated the greenery. Buffalo come from Europe, bison are in America. So getting back to the question, there's not a lot left of these civilizations other than, again, I've said this before, we defeated the me or the mind. We defeated that thing before, the artificial intelligence. I think when the Wizards was free, this thing probably got free too. And that's why it had to take baby steps to reintroduce the technology god. As I said last night, starting with the telegraph, the telephone, the radio, motion pictures. These are all part of the techno gods world. So secret society is hiding theirs. He just got in town for the night and they're heading back to Nebraska. Yeah, that's what he told me, that he was moving around. So the timing was terrible. So I kind of hate that the timing was so bad because I was kind of looking for him yesterday. But if you guys ever come back, I need a little more advance notice. So because my daughter had events today. A code of Marita. Thank you for joining me. The story of the giant is called the Giant of Kandar. If people want to look it up. Okay. In Georgia, there's old trees. Okay. That's interesting. Zach had a really good video on his channel of an interview from the inventor of the CV text exposing it. I recommend to watch it. Okay. Yeah, I listened to Zach was on one tonight. He was mad at everybody. But he reminds me so much of my ex-business partner, though. And you can't get mad at people questioning, or you can't even get mad at people that hate on you and troll you, because that's just part of how they're wired. Everybody ain't going to agree with you. But when you want support, it's kind of messed up to talk shit to your supporters. So, yeah, that Dame shot had, yeah, that's what caught my eye too. It's just the, but what caught my eye earlier is 2 shots earlier that was made. And I'm like, they using Steph Curry's system, because Steph Curry used the most advanced system all year. Now the rolling system ain't really the most advanced. It's incorporated into it, but Steph Curry's system was more, it's drawn to the back and it sweeps the net. Drawn to the back and sweeps the net. And I saw that early in the game. I was like, So when Dame missed, I was like, yeah, because Iran, Iraq, I think it was Iran, made a shot. Then Dame made a shot. And I was looking at both shots. I'm like, yeah, this system is used. So that's why I was looking for it. I heard you guys are expecting some really bad weather. Tornadoes are hitting to my north. Let's see. Yeah, more northwest of me. But St. Croix, so maybe northeast. Yeah, the storm is sweeping, because St. Croix is actually east of me, I believe. But yeah, it's coming. It's something coming. Again, it was 90 something today, but no sun. It was haze, but hot as hell. 70-80% humidity. So is the NBA draft rigged? Yeah, absolutely rigged. They talk about with the Patrick Ewing, they froze the envelope. So when Stern went in there to grab it, I mean, this is what Stern was mad about. He was mad about teams tanking on purpose to get the best draft picks. Milwaukee did it the year before. Milwaukee had done it before he took over to get the coin flip that eventually sent Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lou Alcindor at the time, and Connie Hawkins to Phoenix. So he was like, "Well, my way." So instead of them being the teams being able to tank and do it, he said he would control the draft, which put him on prime time. That was his main reason for doing it. And it's unfair. It's unfair. Cleveland gets picks 2 out of 3 years. They get the #1 picks. Now they were some of the worst teams, but the worst teams should get it should be like football. The worse you are, the better you should get the draft, no matter if you tank or not. That's just a part of sports. If you're losing, you know there's a lot of blame. That's just the history of the game. When you're losing, there's a lot of blame. Even scripted losing. Nigga, you ain't about to take shit about Dame. I know that's your guy. I know Chief, and that's your guy. Yeah, you heard Zach. Yeah, I listened to some of it. Oh, okay. You see MJ, she's gonna do business with you. LeBron draft was rigged for sure. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I see it too. LeBron drafted 03 equals 23. He wore 23. There you go. Matt talks halfway truth on his channel and then backtracks everything he says. Who's Matt? Time Lord Matt. Oh, who's Matt? I think you mean Zach, maybe. I don't know who you talking about. NFL draft is better. It is. It is. It's better in the aspect, but you see what they're going through now. You know, like they're trying to shut the country back down. If you ain't been paying attention, they're trying to shut the country back down. So beware, it's coming. They're already, Pulowski done put everybody. She loved the mask because she could change up mask every day, and everybody talking about her different mask. So she liked that attention. Old pruned up looking chick. She liked that attention, so she put it back there. So they're about to put it back in. They want them. They still talking about the children doing it when school starts. So this is, you have to know propaganda, and that's why if you study Nazi Germany and see how Goebbels used propaganda, and you study Goebbels, you see that America. See, that's why the Nazis didn't lose the war. They didn't lose the war. Everything almost they used was still being used. Everything. I mean, look at the helmet that the Army wears. It's more of the Nazi helmet. Look at the U.S. Army's new helmet. And it ain't new now. It's been probably 10 years. But it's the Nazi helmet. So we use so much of Nazi technology, Nazi. Look, the jets come from the Nazis. Where do you think they got the jets from? They took them jets that was over there and brought them back here. And they backwards, what is it called? Reverse engineered them. That's all they did. They grabbed all that equipment, brought it back, and reverse engineered. They tried to stop the German or the Russians from getting it, and they didn't succeed. The Russians got a couple planes and did the same thing. So they both came out with jets about the same time. Korea was the first, I think, dogfights of jets you saw. The old kind of fuselage jets. Do you think Team USA will want to go? They said today they have to win every game out. So we'll see. I think this is Luka's Olympics. I think this is the Olympic to push the foreign player. So I wouldn't be surprised they lost, just to push the guys of the foreigners have gotten that much better when they really haven't. And we know the first Olympic game won by a foreign team was the 72 Olympics and was absolutely cheap. Absolute cheap. Yeah, they are shutting back down. Yeah. Lockdown is going to be real. Why don't you like Dame? I don't dislike him. I just think he gets a lot of help because when Curry went down with injury, Dame took over that short man's role. And there's a short man's push in the NBA. They're trying to get away. They're trying to push out 7-footers, 6'10", 6'11s, and show that if you can shoot good, you don't even need them on the court. That is the only positive thing with Milwaukee winning. They had a big center in Lopez, and Giannis is 6'9", 6'10", so bigger dudes being on the court. I like that aspect of Giannis winning. But so I'm not against him, but he gets help. And it's funny, in Space Jam, they use Dom's music. When Dom first comes on, they use his music, if you didn't notice. If you haven't seen it, I don't mean to ruin it, but when Dame comes on again, he's a time agent. So I don't dislike him. My great grandfather was part of Genovese family. That is interesting. Okay, that is real interesting. You saw big crowds of people in Milwaukee without masks. That's real hospital championship. There you go. Hey, Lorenzo, thank you for joining me. They are destroying Australia. It seems like that's where the first attack is. When Australia tried to break off from Great Britain in the 60s, remember they assassinated that prime minister? So, those people down there was fed up with them peoples in Great Britain too. So, and I don't think Great Britain ever got out of lockdown. I think they're still under lockdown. Dane was in my work earlier this month. He's only 6-ish. Yeah, Gray. He's only about 6 foot. Yep. The NBA want to show how small markets can win. That's a great point. That is a great point. But what Roger said is, what did he say about Green Bay during his conference? This ain't no vacation spot. Green Bay, you're going to be in Green Bay for roughly 20 some weeks. It's almost half a year. You got to live in that. There ain't much in Wisconsin, period. It's less in Green Bay. There's no culture up there for brothers, not really. So nobody wants to play up there. Rotten weather, rotten practice weather. I mean, they probably have an indoor facility, I imagine, by now, but nobody wants to be up there. But that's a good point, CWE. That's a real good point. No, I never said he wasn't good. See, I've never said NBA players don't have talent. I've never said that. I say that the European players have less talent coming in and they get more time to develop than American players. And Shadi Vaughn is a perfect example of that. You can't tell me after 3-4 years he's fully developed. Yeah, they get more time. A lot of American players don't produce in the first 2 years. They're gone. They're gone. We don't see that with them European players. So I never said that he wasn't good. 99-08 was the last year of big men in the NBA, kind of. You scared to see what I said? No, I didn't say he's not good. Aaron Donald was fake for ratings. It's a distraction from the world. Absolutely. Australia, UK, Canada, United States, they all doing each country differently. As you can see, United States is last. You know the reason. Yeah. Rate Dame 1 to 10. I'll tell you who Dame reminds me of. Dame's reminds me of, I would say he is closer to what Steph Marbury was. A little shorter dude. More of a shooting point guard, less a dish point guard. And so because he's a point guard, he's a less dish point guard, I would give him probably a 6. I guess I would give him a 6 overall. But, it's different categories. Again, I would give him a 0 for defense because when he's out there, you should go at him. Like, remember Cleveland when they was going at Steph Curry? Whoever Curry guarded, they was going at him. And that's the same thing with Dame. He hurts you on defense, so that's why he gets an overall 6. He's not really a pass-first dude. You can tell, like, when people was getting on him that he didn't pass, you could tell then he's starting to dish, but he's not a pass first point guard. So he gets a 6. I would give him a 6. Nah, I'll give him a 6 because he hurts you on defense. He ain't quick to ball hawk. He's not quick to ball hawk. He's just I would say, is he better than Harden defensively? Yeah. Harden just doesn't try. And he hasn't had to try. So Dame, Curry are all shooting guards. Yeah, they're tools with the ball most of the time. Yeah, exactly. They're tools with the ball. So not a true point guard. Now, and like I come from the thing where I looked at Tiny Archibald, who led the league in scoring and assists. Same like Oscar Robertson was the same. Oscar Robertson was probably the first to really utilize the pick and roll, him and Wayne Embry. And so just as many points as he scored off the pick and roll, he would give it back to Embry. And Embry would score. So, and he was always a 2. Oscar Robertson was never looked at as a one. He was mostly a two, but he was a two with a one's mentality fire setting other players up. And that's a big guy. If you guys meet Oscar Robertson, don't be surprised how big he is. He's old now, though. Would you call Dame a ball hog? Yeah, he takes some bad shots. I'll say this though, is he's learned to take the bad shots at the right time. Because with the shot clock, sometimes you got to take bad shots, but he's learned to take the bad shots at the right time. You see that maturity in his game. So, do you see where it looks like they're gonna move CJ? Looks like they're moving CJ, and now they're talking about Ben Simmons. But see, that's another example. People saw Ben Simmons couldn't shoot in high school, so why did he get all the hype? When he went to LSU, he didn't make LSU better. He got the coach fired because the coach jumping through hoops for this dude who never showed any effort or any allegiance to the school. What was his name? Jimmy Jackson. What was his name? That played for LSU, played with Shaq. I think he played more with Chris Jackson or Maouf than Shaq, but I think he played one season with Shaq, maybe two. But that coach got fired over fucking with Ben Simmons. So, can you sniff the stuff now? It's now safe instead of the other way. Can you sniff the stuff now? I don't know what that means. Isaiah Thomas was a scoring point guard that got assists too. I would say that he was like breaking people down, but he still looked to dish. Because again, we're not talking about Isaiah wasn't a great outside shooter. Mid-range, yes, good mid-range shooter, but not a three-point shooter. And again, when we grew up, the three-point shot didn't come in, I think, until 83, 80, well, maybe before. But again, that wasn't, his game. His game was more of a mid-range game. But because of Isaiah's mid-range game, he was always a force to pass to because of that, where people was backing off him or two would come guarding and he would dish the ball off. And I'll tell you one guy that really, to see how much he advanced, was Dumar. I mean, Dumar, it was beautiful to watch him advance as a pro. I mean, it really was. Sad that he ended up on bad teams at the end. It's all about dimes and points as a point guard. Yeah, well, I would say dimes before points, but the rhythm of how you play the game, too, is how a point guard should attack it. Trent Jr. got traded because he had a problem with Dame, keep wanting to do that last-minute Dame time shit. I wouldn't doubt it. He probably spoke out against it. Get your points and assists. Do you think they should trade CJ? It's just, this is what was hard with CJ. Having CJ and Dame in there hurt you on defense at the same time. You got to have a bigger guard in there. So when the switches come, you can't have two dudes. What is CJ, 6'1", 6'2"? You can't compete on defense with them two like that. It's just hard to compete for them to compete. So that's my only thing that I would say. It's just hard for them both to be out on the court at the same time. Hey, Amber, thank you for joining. On my state is a high level for the stuff. You know what I mean? Okay. 76ers could have traded for Harden, but they didn't want to give up so much. Yeah, they should have got rid of Simmons. They said instead of the regular medicine, they can now have you. Okay. Yeah, PJ. I like Joe. The media cuddles these generational athletes. Ben Simmons is a bust. Okay, they have him listed as 6'4". Okay, I don't know. He might be, but he's not a big 6'4". He's not a Bonzi Wells kind of 6'4". He's a milder dude. Wow. I don't know. That might be reaching. I'd like to see him standing up with everybody. That might be reaching because I don't think he's that big. Because look at him and Dame compared. Let's see if we can find a picture. A picture of Dame and CJ McCollum together. Okay, yeah, he's quite a bit bigger. It looks. This is a drawing, though. This is about the best picture I could get. And they both wearing shoes. This one shows a little better. Okay. Okay, yeah, he could be. But even now in today's game, 6'4" for a guard, when you got guards 6'7", 6'8", even kind of hard, but especially both of them, it's kind of hard. Uh, Double threat, the winner, you understand, right? Something else is making an amazing comeback. There you go. CJ is in that D Wade 6'4". Dang, 15 million facing eviction now. Yeah. Well, no, that's not really true. The eviction notices are held until June of 22. So I don't know. I think that's at the federal level. That evictions got saved until June of 22. So I don't know about that. That people were getting evicted because it's supposed to be June of 22. Now Harden is 6'5". Harden was 6'5". Harden was 6'5" in college. I wonder if he really has bad skin. It didn't seem like he had bad skin in college. Um, but yeah, Harden was 6'5" in college. Yeah, I don't think people have until next June to pay up. And that's a national mandate. My mother is into that business. And so yeah, you have until June. So the people that are behind on rent have until June of 22 to pay all their rent. So and that's a national mandate. That's not just a state thing. So just be aware as you look at this violence in the cities, as you look up the shoplifting they showing. Because the funny thing about shoplifting, they just showing the black folks. It's like they ain't showing these people strung out on crystal meth going into stores stealing shit. They got to show black folks doing it, which is kind of a funny thing. Which is kind of a funny thing too. Uh, that's the that's a plus. Now they have to get the food right, right? Why are farmers destroying their crops? I haven't seen that because here we are hurt for water, and there's like down here, Prior Lake, we have water restrictions, drought or not. Now that's why if a storm does come tonight, it'd be great because of we need the water. I mean, people's lawns, people give up. People that have beautiful lawns have given up because again, there's certainly like I think we have every other day you can water. We have some kind of, and it's always down here. We always have water restrictions in my area, and everybody's lawn is like, yeah. Other than keeping the weeds out your lawns, everybody's kind of giving up on their lawns. And I mean the plants and stuff. The people that have the plants and stuff around their houses. Um, you can still give enough water to the plants, but to water your lawns, like when I lived in Minneapolis, yeah, you're not doing that. Yeah. Uh, we are our crops getting destroyed across the UK and Australia. Look it up. Okay, yeah, but not here in America. Um, they're struggling to get them crops because again, the lack of rain has went through all through the Midwest. So we're at drought conditions here. But you know what they say is that June the corn should be knee high by June. I think yeah, knee high by June, and we saw that. So I don't think they're throwing anything away up here. So maybe yeah, could be in other countries. Look at my last video for a dang good reason of why they're destroying crops. Oh, okay. Rest in peace, plants. uh, for a dang good reason of why they're destroying them. Okay. It rarely rains. Yeah. Well, the thing they used to always say, it rarely rains in Southern California. And that's kind of a thing. But up here it rains all the time, but not so far. Uh, they paying farmers this month as of this month. Trying to run the local farmers out down here. I think the governments down here don't have as much control over the food supply. Interesting. They do here. You see, Kellogg's just is settling a case because Kellogg says that some of these cereals with all that sugar in it is a healthy alternative, and in fact, it's still full of sugar. So, because what I do when I eat cereal, I get a cereal that ain't got sugar, and I mix it with a little bit of cereal with sugar because again, as we get older, we want to limit the intake of sugar. I've pretty much erased white sugar. I have this same couple pounds for when I make spaghetti, but my daughter doesn't like spaghetti. My son doesn't like spaghetti, so I rarely make it anymore. My 20-year-old, that's the thing he knows how to cook the easiest because I cooked it so much. He's able to pick that up. So, oh, of course, Kellogg's has pesticides in their stuff. GMOs, same. Yep. Yep. Well, everything's going up. That's what called inflation. Everything's going up. Yeah, so Kellogg's has pesticides too. I know where some Kellogg's farms are in Michigan. I've been by some of their farms where people grow stuff for Kellogg's. Hmm. So I've been around some of them farms because they use local people as well. Cool. They use local people as well. I don't like spaghetti either. It's funny. My son doesn't like spaghetti, but he likes lasagna, which is kind of the same. Even you put a few different cheeses. This is mainly 2,4-D CDDI. Okay, I get you. I'll tell you. Yesterday when we got again, it's been 90 every day here for past I don't know 3 weeks at least. Yesterday, you could clearly see that ain't the sun. I mean, yesterday it was clear. This thing wasn't that high up in the air. Like even when I was a child and on sunny days, it didn't look like it was close. It just didn't. The thing that I saw yesterday wasn't that far away. It was no way that far away. So yesterday, I think was a clear example. Again, it didn't have rays. It didn't have rays. The thing we see now doesn't really have rays. It's more of just a disc. The thing we see now looks more like a disc, and it doesn't really push out the rays. And so what I saw yesterday in the 90 degrees was not the real sun. It was something else. So we are pretty much living on the sun simulator. So it's in full effect. So a couple of years ago when I saw them both moving, that was about 3 years ago. That might have been the last time we got to see what was called our sun. I think. I think so. That's the sad thing. I'm sure your spaghetti is delicious. Thank you, Amber. It's okay. My son said somebody told him it was ghetto spaghetti, but no, the way we like eating it is without all that acidy taste of the tomatoes. And so people in America took to putting it a little sugar in it to take away a lot of that acidity, that acid taste. So it's not ghetto. And somebody told my son, well, that's called ghetto. Like, son, that's kind of racist. Tell your friends a little bit racist there, but no, we like it that way because we want to take some of that acid out of it. Some people don't like all the acid, and so a little bit of sugar cuts the acid taste. I don't like that either. I really don't like any pasta. Okay. Someone said they are seeing solar flare flashes. Okay. Temperature's going to be 300 plus when the sun becomes a red giant. If people's is around then, I'm sure they'll have a way to adapt. Look up a channel called Planet X News. Okay, Sosa. We might melt. Yeah, if we're still around, we might melt. Oh, these little bats are great therapy for the hands. Like, I don't think people realize that. Really great therapy. If you saw this setup, my legs cocked in the air on a can. But I just can't sit straight anymore. It just hurts too much for some reason. Brown sugar cuts the acidity in sauce. Okay, Crazy Sarge. I think I've tried that a little bit too. So within the real soul go, what happened to it? How are we saying we weren't in the dome matrix until recently? Is that the Mandela effect, multiverse, or what? I have no explanation for that one. I really don't. Ever since I saw the two suns, I don't know how to explain it. I really don't. It shows more matrixy. Yeah, it shows more matrixy for sure. How could they take something that had been there since mankind has talked about in some of the ancient wall pictures and stuff, petroglyphs, but all of a sudden we are seeing something that don't even look like what was described. We are seeing something that just is round, that doesn't not throw out rays. It just doesn't. I sun gaze almost every day when I can, when the sun's going down. And this is, it, how can I say this? It still helps to gaze into it because it can burn a lot of this calcification that goes on here, trying to close your first eye, trying to close your awareness. So it is good for that. It is good for taking the sun bath. It is good for that still, but just the overall feel of it feels different. It definitely appears different. So I don't know, guys. I don't know how they did it. I really can't explain that, but it doesn't appear like the same sun as when I was a boy. It really doesn't. Like when the sun, those summer days where you can see the sun close, it still seemed giant. It doesn't seem like that now. You very rarely, I'm not going to say never, but you very rarely see the sun where it looks like a giant in the sky. And again, time difference in space and the way, how far, but there's like, I think, I'll say this: there are certain periods where that giant sun has appeared, but it don't appear all the time. I'll say that. It doesn't appear all the time as much as it used to, where it always seemed giant. Now it really doesn't most of the time. We don't get a lot of them giant looking sun days. Less and less, less and less. And now, I mean, I don't know if people are aware, the days are getting shorter. Again, in May, you was hearing the birds chirp at 3:30, 4 o'clock. Like I'd normally get off of here, what is it now, 2 or so, and around 3:30, you was hearing the birds chirp in May, early June. Yeah, not now, not now, not now. The sun's not coming up till about 6, after 6. So the days are getting shorter. And that's the kind of sadness about when the solstice comes. It means, the long days are going away because the solstice changes in June. And so we only really have May and June of long days. And then once 4th of July comes, the days progressively get shorter. So that's for a sun gazer, it's just interesting to see that. Even the nights, 9:15. I mean, before it was some days 9:45, it didn't get dark. So you'd be a better judge than me. I don't know. I just pay attention to it, and I don't know. It seems like something different. I love spaghetti either way. I knew that we put sugar in it to take the acid taste out, my kids would love mine. My wife won't eat it with sugar and tried to go off when I did it. She could taste it. That's funny. Or just give the children just a little bit, over their own plates and let them mix it in. Because sometimes if I forget, that's what my family would do. They're like, you didn't put any sugar in this, and they'd go get it and mix it in. We should migrate to Jupiter moons. Once the sun becomes a red giant, then the ice would have melted on the moons. Possible. It would be crazy if the projector is coming from inner Earth. The days are always long. Well, it was like I was telling my mom, there's a saying: the days are long, but the years are short. And that's Robert. I called it Heinlein. I don't think that's how you pronounce it, but that comes from him. The days are long, but the years are short. So I can remember being in grade school and thinking, well, I can't wait till 3 o'clock comes, to get out. And it seemed like forever. It seemed like in some realities, I'm still sitting in there waiting for the day to get off. The days seem so long, but and it really, when you have children, your life really speeds up because your children grow up. It just seems it speeds up once you have children. Like my youngest was born in 11, and these last 10 years of having her has been more sped up than any part of my life ever. Is these 10 years watching her grow up. So, and my oldest is next month will be 33. So, yep. So that is just a reality. That is just the reality we live with. So, but whatever, we have to make the best out of it. Like CW saying leaving, I mean, mentally we can leave. And that's the thing about, this is the cool thing about how we can interact and fight this thing is don't fear anything. Okay, you saying that people dying that don't take the drip? Okay, then we just gonna accept it. Let us go. I'm not letting you put that elevator on you, that elevator that wants to pull your shit and breathe for you, that destroys your lungs. Yeah, I know it's not an elevator, but I'm just saying it puts that pressure, like going crash, the elevator crashing on the bottom floor, and then it expands them. It harms you when they put you on that. I just saw a thing where they talking about they put a young girl on that, and the girl passed, and I'm like, yeah. So fear is the biggest thing. It's like, okay, that's why I was saying, if you start to feel bad, say I'm accepting what's happening, and see how much quicker you feel better. Because they really, when they think they're killing you, they want you to fear it. They want you to try to hold on to something. I need more time. You remember the movie with the time, the Justin Timberlake movie, Out of Time? They want you to fear it. But if you look at it and say, okay, I'm ready, I'm good. This is some fucked up shit I'm living in anyway. So faster because they opened up another. CERN was never about finding a God particle. CERN is miles long, and they have tunnels where people have seen creatures. And CERN has Shiva, or not Shiva, but Kali. CERN has a thing of Kali. Who do I have winning the World Series? I don't know. I mean, with this thing on canceling, whose game did they cancel today? Was it the Nationals or the Phillies? Was it? I think they canceled the Phillies game. They're trying to throw this bullshit in there, so I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. Boston looks really good again, and the Yankees they're all fighting good. Detroit, shit, it was Detroit scored 18 runs, wasn't it? Trying to think of that score. 14-18, I think they beat the Twins today, and they didn't hit a home run. First time they've ever scored that many runs without a homer. So, and I don't think the Tigers aren't doing well this year either. So, I don't know. I guess I like always kind of like the Dodgers. I don't know. I don't know. Kind of hard for me to say. Got players got it during the All Star break. Could have. All the heroes from last year that got clapped for now, they time to shine. Yes, I don't know. I don't know. With this thing closing down, hard to say. And then you see how bogus they want to do the football. Not pay you. See, baseball got it made. Baseball, it don't matter. You missed the game or not, you get paid. That money's all guaranteed. Fully guaranteed means they put that shit in the bank. That's how they do it. Oh, CW say you 20. Okay. Good age. Really finding things for a job, you can always be let go at any time. That's the thing about it. Unless you're an owner, that's exactly right. Like I talk about, I hurt that dude's feelings. I hurt that dude's feelings, and I was only had a contract with them people anyway. And I was like, shit, this is bullshit. And I felt bad for the workers. I mean, a lot of Hispanic brothers and sisters up in there. And I mean, who works a 12-hour shift with one break? You only get lunch. You work 6 hours and you get lunch. To go to the bathroom, you got to have somebody relieve you on the line. And I'm looking at this shit like, that was slavery. 12 hours with one break and for a half hour? I mean, normal places give you 15 minutes in the morning. They give you a half hour lunch and 15 minutes at night. And I would go into places and these people would have a 15-minute lunch break and two 5-minute breaks. And I'm like, this is a cheap ass place. Because that's why I'd always ask, to talk to people when I'd go look at positions. I'm like, yeah, I'm not taking this. Because I would feel bad for people. And I remember one place, they only got this place 15 minutes for lunch. Two 5-minute breaks, which equals 30 minutes. And they're like, well, we don't have to stay 30 minutes later. This is the psyop that the company gave them, that you don't have to stay 30 minutes later. It's worth it because you have breaks so you can rejuvenate yourself. That is the purpose of giving them breaks, is to rejuvenate their work so they work better for you. So you got these cheap companies out there. But I would go to places and ask those questions. How long is the breaks? If they were saying less than a half hour for lunch, I'm like, yeah, I don't want that contract. Because most places give you an hour off. Some places give you Most places give you 2 15-minute breaks, one in the morning, lunch, then one in the afternoon. So you get an hour off. And yeah, you got to work an hour later, but you get rejuvenated. You're not as burned out. I watched one lady in a 15-minute break. I watched this lady smoke 5 cigarettes in 15 minutes. She smoked 5 cigarettes in 15 minutes. I wonder if that chick is still alive, but I watched her smoke 5 cigarettes. It was like soon as one got low, she throw it down and like this was back when you could smoke in the factories. She lit another one. I watched her smoke 5 cigarettes in 15 minutes. Whew. No, the NFL players, it's the highest revenuing sport, but they have the weakest union. And you have to thank Joe Montana to cross the picket line and dope fiend Lawrence Taylor. They crossed the picket line. It was like the reason why rookies now are getting their money again. But for a few years, well, rookie contracts are the worst. Most rookies are tied in for almost 4 years. And then the team has an option, and then they can tag you. So technically, in some instances, you're tied up for 6 years. The average career is what, 3 years, depending on position? So a sport where the average career is only 3 years, that's less than pension money. So you don't even get in pension by then. So yeah, I would want 2 30-minute breaks in a 12-hour shift. Yeah, exactly, CW. At least that. When that's why I was only smoked 3 cigarettes on my break. Like I remember I worked for Pfizer. Gosh, this was when the boys were babies, so it must have been 2000. And Pfizer, you had to wear uniforms. So the people that smoked, not only, in the 15 minutes, they had to go get undressed, get dressed, and then go outside and have a smoke. But what I liked about Pfizer is you could, like, your 30-minute lunch, you could take a nap. They had couches everywhere. And the people, like, if you worked 12 hours there, when you got your break, you could go to sleep, and they didn't care. Because that's some shit. You can work in some places, and if you sleeping during your break, they tell you not to sleep. It's like, I'm on break. You can't tell me what the fuck to do. 5 cigarettes in 15 minutes. What's happening, boo? 15 minutes, damn. Take that long to smoke a blunt. There you go. That chick was one after the other, and I just was amazed. She amazed me. When true jokers and suits take over, just like Alfred says, some people can't be bullied, paid, reason where they're talked to. Some people just want to see the world burn. That's a good point. Packers refused to trade Rodgers and forced them to play. Yeah, but we'll see what kind of play. He doesn't have weapons, and that was his main point. You went out and got a quarterback at number 1 instead of giving him some help. So, I mean, they didn't give him any help. So that's a fact. They didn't give him any help. Now, the players, he said that they got rid of. Woodson was 36 years old. Who wants a 36-year-old safety? Nobody. So, that Woodson, that made me look at the whole thing as like, well, Woodson, that wasn't a good example. The Jody, whatever his name was, Jody Nelson, he was done. He had got hurt. Remember, Jody Nelson got hurt? And then after he got hurt, he wasn't the same. So he was somebody else. Like they talking about bringing Cobb back. When has Cobb gotten separation in the last 4 years? Cobb ain't separating from anybody. Receiver, if you can't separate, you're done. That was why the Cowboys got rid of Dez Bryant. He wasn't getting separation anymore. Rodgers might be throwing INTs on purpose. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. They make Rodgers a true paid slave. Dante Adams got 3 receivers right now. Top 3 receivers right now. Yeah, he's one of the better ones. But again, like I showed in games, you guard him. Rodgers didn't have anywhere else to go. You guard him. And I did a good video where they show, and it was on this channel, where they show that was with the Patriots. The Patriots beat the Packers, and the center, which I like the center for Tampa Bay, but he clearly clips this guy, and that's what the announcers say at first. And then when they didn't call the clip, Troy Aikman says, well, the good block, I mean, after they get away from it, he said, well, the good block sprang. But a second ago, he was calling it what it was. It was a clip right in front of an official. And that's why we know officials in the NFL wear earbuds. All officials wear earbuds, all of them. So that's why I don't even know why they go through that bullshit in baseball where they got to go to the review. They're talking in your ear already. I mean, that's just for visuals. They're already talking in their ear. So, like I was saying, I was watching the Twins play last week, and the catcher, the ball's outside the strike zone. The catcher's doing this, the oldest trick that you do in Little League baseball. And this several times, this pro called strikes. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a Little League play, and you telling me you fooled by the Little League play of the catcher bringing the ball back over? It's some bullshit. I'm like, yeah, this is some bullshit. So I don't know. I don't know. It's you can't really do too much of it. Oh, did y'all see that the women won the 3-on-3? The USA women won the 3-on-3. I got to watch a couple of their games. My daughter sit here and it's sticky all over. Can you start a stream so we can watch the game together if you're up for it in the NFL season? Yeah, I did that. I think I did it during Super Bowl. Absolutely. Sebastian, I'll do that. Yeah, absolutely. I'll do a live stream during the game. I did that for the Super Bowl. That might have been on the no. Super Bowl had to be on this channel. They cut me off January 3rd. So this channel's been up since January 3rd. So no, yeah. So yeah, if you look at I did the Super Bowl. So we'll do a game. Yeah, we'll do a game. I'm going to see I think my son told me today he got tickets to see. We're going to see Cleveland. We're going to see when the Browns come in town. So yep, seems like all sports scripted after high school. Absolutely, CJ Jordan. Absolutely. Thank you for joining. I remember you doing that video. Aikman knew it was a clip. He had just found a way to say it was a good block, right? When they took it off the screen. Yeah, the women did. Yeah. It's always funny when the ump takes an extra second on a close pitch that he's getting confrontational. Exactly. What are your thoughts on these new time travel movies? They're kind of. I think there's a good message there, but I think it really points to we have to go back to Cortez getting help. I really think that's what we should take out of this, that at some point in this history, I don't know if the Wizards brought some people, but there was something that helped them because the story just doesn't make sense how Cortez did it. I mean, I don't care that you have cannons. You didn't have guns. The guns they had didn't make a difference. You can't tell me that armor, that you're going to South America and you can wear armor all day is too damn hot. It's just no way you could wear armor. Okay, say I've got 15,000 people. Cortez only had 500 men. They only had, it wasn't 500 horses. One time I had all that information. They only had 15 guns. They had less than 500 horses, so there wasn't all cavalry. And you're telling me these dudes from Europe. Now Spain it gets warm, but it doesn't get as warm as being on that equator. Doesn't get as warm as being in South America. So there's no way these dudes could fight for hours in armor in the heat of South America. It's just not possible. So to get to your question is, this has happened before, I'm sure. This has happened before. So that's to me what I'm getting out of it, that it's happened before, and it might be on the thing where it might happen again. That's kind of what I'm getting. But it's all preparing for the alien futuristic person anyway. That is what all this is preparing for, is the alien futuristic kind of thing, I think is what they do. The Super Bowl and the national championship game. Oh, okay, I did both. Okay, I might have. Women's Team USA sent their best players, and men's team USA didn't. Oh, okay. I didn't know any of them dudes who made the 3-on-3 team. So some high school games are rigged too. I was around the refs and said, "I got you tonight." I was shooting around the refs, and he said, "I got you tonight." Well, a lot of the high school games is biased. you'll get a lot of bias because high school, a lot of their same refs want to keep going to the same school. So you get them calls. I know college, it was some places like we played a bit against Big John Meredith, which I'm happy that I got to play against that old time coach, but we got cheated in Tennessee. They called 2 touchdowns back and they called holding each time. And the type of linemen we had, these cats didn't need to hold. And we looked at it on film and it was nothing. It wasn't even us bias. I mean, some plays we could see a motherfucker holding, but not that game. We had Tennessee State beat. We had them beat. We had them beat, and they called 2 touchdowns back. We played Howard. They called a touchdown back. The quarterback had faked to the fullback because we ran the veer, and then everybody tackled the fullback. The quarterback ran down the field, and he running by himself, and they killed the play. They kill the play looking at him running down the field, then they just blow the whistle. So you can be cheated. We was cheated then too, because we end up 9-3. We should have easily been 10-1. We should have easily been 10-1. It was 2 games they took away from us where we had it. Now we played South Carolina State. My guy fumbled a short touchdown. He fumbled it because he had the corner on a pitch, and he just took his eye off it. But he had it. He'd have caught that. They wouldn't have caught him. So we got beat by South Carolina State up in the Meadowlands when we played up in the Pro Stadium. But them other 2 games, we definitely got cheated. We definitely got cheated because we lost to Howard 6-0. So it would have been 6-6, but we stopped them because it was too wet to kick. We stopped them on their extra point. They really didn't stop us. We just didn't get down close enough, and it was almost impossible to pass. A couple of times I was open and he didn't throw it to me, but it was a horrible day. We were supposed to play in what used to be known as RFK Stadium, which is off Benny Road. And because of the heavy rain, we ended up playing on their practice field. So it was crappy. It was like a junior high field in Michigan. It would be like a junior high field. It was that bad. So it was hard for everybody to play. Hey, Antonio, what's happening? There's never any one topic. It's all kind of, bring up different kind of stuff. But thank you for joining. They have money on the games. Yeah, all the games they have money on. Yeah. It's good, but NBA is better. Refs probably bet before the game. Well, that's how they got the one ref. He was betting. That's like Pete Rose. They said Pete Rose was one of the best handicappers of all time. So they were scared of Pete Rose. But Pete Rose, again, he wasn't betting on them to win or lose. When the thing is fixed, Rose was betting because he know the shit is fixed. And that's why they slapped him so hard. You had to do betting because he knew the fix. So that's why they keeping Rose out. I have not. I started watching Old last night. I still haven't got through the Hitman's Bodyguard 2. That shit is just so corny. So I started watching Old last night. Right before I was going to bed, I watched about 5-6 minutes and I turned it off. So I haven't finished it, but might watch it tonight. All these colleges are on the rigging in college sports. Absolutely. All the colleges. If there's a line for the game, then the game is rigged. Yeah. Old is a M. Night Shyamalan movie. It's a film with a crazy ending relative to today. Okay. Yeah, I started watching it, but just a few minutes. How long have we had clone centers? I feel like everybody has a double somewhere. Sebastian, that's a decent question, but I don't even think they have to clone people. I mean, if you travel a lot around America, you see people look alike. Now, I've said before, just me traveling around the Midwest, I would see adult versions of children I knew, and I would see the opposite. I would see children versions of adults I knew. So people look alike. It's like the names. Like when I was born, until my son was born, there wasn't anybody else with my exact name. But now there's 6 or 7 other people other than my son with my name. That's related to me. They ain't juniors, but they Macons down, Macons related to me. And so they've run out of names. I remember looking at where my grandmother was born and looking at those things. And I was seeing where like a lot of names you don't see anymore, but it was like, it came to me, I was like, they're running out of names. So the same thing is, I think they're running out of phenotypes, or not even that. They're running people look so much alike. I don't know if they would have to clone because people really look alike. As I gave an example in the 1900s, they had a prison that had two prisoners that not only did they look alike, identical, that wasn't related, but they also had the same name. They looked alike and had the same name. And so they for 5 years they was thinking this was one dude. And so they figured out later this is two different people. But people look alike, generally look alike. So I don't know if clones are needed because people look so much alike. You think the NFL is going to let Brady win again? It wouldn't surprise me if they did. Brady is their Jordan. They don't want that guy retiring. They're going to let him be quarterback to 100 and let you have a rocking chair back there. I mean, it just is an insult to younger players. Why do you need him? That's the question you have to ask. Why do they need Brady still? It was like the way they forced Michael Jordan back into the league. The league was hurting for ratings. So, and the Washington team was about to fold, and Jordan saved that franchise from folding. And when they got back on their feet, they kicked his ass out the door and said he was a bad, he was a bad person. He was a bad evaluator of talent. Yeah. But he saved that. Instead of them giving the team to him that he saved, they pushed him out the door. So I only look like my dad, and I has the same name. I look a lot like my dad. It's like my daughter in Michigan. She was like, we were FaceTime, and she's like, yeah, I look like you. And she does. She looks like me. That's why my oldest daughter on YouTube, or Facebook, that's my only communication with her, because her mother, didn't tell her when she was younger about me. And she, like, I have a picture I blended of the three girls, and they all like have this. This is a very Macon. These cheekbones and the almond face is a very Macon trait. And so now I have my mother's side nose. I have what's called an ampy nose. But this is all my father's side of the family. And you can tell, like my middle daughter looks like, but even my oldest daughter, it's funny, I caught them all smiling, and all of them, this is highlighted. But like, I look like my father. I do. He's a little darker than me. He's a little slightly browner than I am. But we look a lot alike. I'm just older. It's like my youngest son, we look identical even as he gets older, but he has his mother's nose. But if you took away like the noses, we look identical. He's just shorter. He's shorter than me and not as heavy framed. Well, my frame, my shoulders are not squared anymore. I used to have the football shoulders. Shoulders look like that all the time. Not so much anymore. A demon with no body wants a body. You got one in the Super Bowl this year. I'm going to say the Eagles. I'm going to say the Eagles, Antonio. The Eagles have been my favorite football team since the 70s. Mahomes is crying. That's what RH negative and these hybrids are, just future robot bodies for these bodiless demons. Brady will be 50 winning Super Bowls. Exactly, CW. I think they're afraid if he retires, the ratings are going to drop. And I think that's why they're keeping him in there. Because you can't tell me that a man that old doesn't want to stop playing. I mean, the man said he played on a destroyed knee all year. And at a certain point, you want to quit having surgery. I mean, because that's what the life of most NFL players, you have surgery in the offseason. These guys don't have to work like they had to do 50 years ago. You had to have a job, but, they have enough financial that they don't have to do that. But most of the time, off season is some kind of surgery. And I mean, even getting your knee scoped is surgery. So that's what it is. It's like when you get done, you surgery, rehab. So why would somebody that old still want to continue with surgery, rehab? Because rehab is not easy. It's not easy. It took me, when I tore my Achilles, it took me about a year to walk. I mean, I could limp, but it took me a good year to really walk. And I had to go back because, again, they cut out this blood clot out of my calf and cut out a lot of that muscle. And I had to, learn how to walk from that. So after 3 weeks of doing well, getting that put me back 3 weeks. And so actually I found the dude who's my physical therapist now, when he looked at me, he's like, why are you walking like that? I'm like, and so he helped me. He physically, he's like, you start getting for your knee too, and we'll work on your knee. So how do you feel about your daughters taking to biop? I'm not getting, like, my 15-year-old daughter had it, but I have no say, and she's 15. She lives with her mother. My oldest children have it. And what can I say? They're grown men, but I know my 23-year-old was pressured because his mama, daddy, my father, my stepfather, my stepmother, all them, had it. So there was pressure on him to do it as well. So, I mean, Michigan is a different mentality there. It definitely is. They are they are really fear based more in Michigan than we are here in Minnesota. We like even during it was a lot of people that didn't do shit, but most people still did shit. You just got paid to be at home, but I mean, masks until they made people wear masks, people didn't wear masks. People wasn't voluntarily wearing masks at first. Um, oh, what about the Cowboys? Okay. Oh, okay. You talking about the Cowboys? Hey, Trap, thank you for joining me. I see LeBron winning one more. I do too, if not two. I do too. LeBron gonna play with his son. Y'all got to feel that he's gonna play with his son. He doesn't want to stop playing because he knows he's chosen Golden Boy of the League. Yeah, that's part of it too. KD faked his Achilles injury, maybe, because I didn't see his foot go sideways. When I tore mine, my foot went sideways because there was nothing holding my foot going this way. My foot went like that. My foot went like that. Trying to figure out why this Aaron Rodgers story is such a big deal. They must got something planned for him. Could be. I wouldn't be surprised. Like when Harding talked all that shit in the first games, they got rid of him, remember? So I wouldn't be surprised if a late trade comes with Rodgers because he put their asses out there today. And they remember the Packers don't have one owner. They've got multiple owners. So remember that about the Packers. They don't have one owner. Tell me what you think of my Super Bowl matchup. I've got the Chiefs playing the Cowboys. With the Cowboys winning it all, I guess that would kind of go into the Drake thing, the Dak thing. And they had Johnson saying he would do anything to win a Super Bowl. He'd pay any amount of money. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, didn't you win 3 Super Bowls? So you've won a Super Bowl before. But yeah, that was 30 years ago. But you've won a Super Bowl before. So you're telling us now you do anything when you've already won 3 Super Bowls? But it's what can you done for me lately? DL have destroyed ratings forever. You can't say he'll win 2 more because he was supposed to three-peat with the Lakers and the script was changed. So, yeah, we don't know. I agree, CWE. I agree. I don't see the Cowboys or Patriots winning because the United States is over. No Eagles or Washington either, I don't think. Really, I want to see how the squads match up and seeing who they're pushing. And then I'll do one before, but I do want to see how these squads are put together. And then I can kind of try to beat the odds. Oh, yeah, definitely paid actors. No doubt. Same thing. Same as paid actors. Raiders raiding America. That's a good point because it might be the same thing that they did to the hockey club. Remember, the hockey club their first season, they went to the Stanley Cup. And they beat a team that did the same thing 20 years before. When Washington came in the league their first year, they went to the Stanley Cup and lost. So we saw the same thing happen. So we might see the same thing with the Raiders because they really want to build that area up. Because they want to don't make any doubt, they want to put a pro basketball team in Las Vegas and a pro baseball team there too. So that is the overall goal. But then people are going to look at it as, I don't know about this. Raiders versus the Bucks. That would be a good point. See, I could see that. Because the Raiders were my AFL team. I believe Baker and Brady Super Bowl. That could be. Jones knows the script already. Raiders versus Bucks is Jackson can throw the ball. You saw Jackson. He's had the thing twice before and he's got it again. Chiefs points in all 4 Super Bowl appearances, 67-10. They won it in 70. 20, 31, 21, 73. Brady is 7-3 in Super Bowls after defeating the Chiefs. Good breakdown, CWE. I think Ravens and Rams and Chargers are sleeper teams this season. I don't see how the Rams think they're going to be any better with that old quarterback that never won anything. We'll see. Golf definitely wasn't the answer. Golf shouldn't have been the first pick. He never had a rifle arm. I don't know. Hey, Amp Redman. I hope they don't move my Wolves. Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I like being able to go to games. I do. I think if they do, they'll bring another team in, but I hope they keep them here. I really do. Um, Poor management and poor ownership, poor drafting over the years. Just very poor drafting. Even I can't say that Mohammed, I'd have taken Mohammed over Ganas. Probably would have. Mohammed wasn't a bad player. I got to meet him too, because I was at a when Muhammad came in here. I was at a Lynx game, and him, I forget their top three picks had flown in to sign their contracts, and so he was at one of the games. So I got to meet him, and I dug his game. He had a nice inside game. Now he was more like Rodney Rogers' game than I think Zion. He kind of had a Rodney Rogers type of game, but he didn't last long here. Yeah, I hope they don't move the Timberwolves either. I enjoy going to games. The Raiders Stadium is ridiculous. It looks like it. Chiefs points. The Rams lost the starting running back too. I saw that. The worst. I don't know what happened to Shabazz. Yeah, he was a decent player. He got traded. He played the bubble year. He got traded though. He only played here a couple seasons and they got rid of him. So I don't know what happened to him. But talent doesn't matter in these leagues, Sebastian. It's just who's scripted in the end. Kind of. Well, no, what they look at is how well can you follow the script. That's what they look at. Is like how well can you follow the script. And I think that was what they were scared of Chris Jackson, Rauf, or whatever his name. I'm no disrespect, but I think that's what they were scared about him, is that he was going to start revealing some of the truths. Yeah, Shabazz was a decent player, CJ Jordan. I like Shabazz. How else you think the Bucks won this year? Have you heard about the wing makers in Arizona? Their civilization was discovered thousands of years ago, but the catch it is they said they came from the future to warn humans. That's a good point. That's a good point. Well, I haven't heard of them. Again, this thing is so old. Be it a simulation, be it a matrix, it is so old that we don't know how many times this thing has went through. And this is what would really break. This was what really would break everything if everybody really would throw away the fear. And that's how, I mean, people don't understand. They hit you with so much fear. Like if you have children, you start being fearful if something happens to them. I mean, one thing I like about having foresight is I saw my family devastated. But when I came back to reality, I was happy because I cried. I cried all that seeing them devastated. So I'm like, what the reality was telling me, when it happens, don't let it devastate you, because you've already had foresight and saw this. So it can't hurt you again, is what the reality was trying to help me understand. So, and I'm not trying to sound cold, because, again, I just buried my nephew a couple of weeks ago, and he wasn't a perfect person, but you don't think that you would lose a nephew at 33, not by murder or anything like this. He didn't get murdered. This was a car crash. So I was prepared. Now it wasn't times I didn't get emotional, because again, this was my nickname is Toby, and this was the first of anybody that he called me Uncle Toby from the very beginning. And it was just so cute the way he said it. And even when he see me years later, again, I didn't see him a lot as an older person. I hadn't saw him. My brother got married to Jenna. That was the last time I saw him. So the boys were little. So I probably didn't see this young man till last time I saw him, he was probably 17, 18. Yeah, he's probably 17, 18, 19 maybe. So some years went by. Raiders last Super Bowl 18 win in 84 over the Redskins. Yeah, I won a lot of money on that. Raiders Super Bowl 56, 38 years later, 22, Gematria. Wow, good breakdown, CWE. OJ Mayo was in the Shabazz tier player that could have been great, but didn't turn out. I think a lot of, yeah, he was kind of undersized too, undersized and not real quick. Basketball player instead of being an athlete. He appeared more like a basketball player than an athlete. What was the other one? The other one from Memphis around the same time. Um, because he was also the top recruit of his year, and he followed Rose in Memphis. I can't think of that player's name, but he was another dude that had the size, that played a one or a two, and it just didn't pan out for him. There was a multiverse with different Earths. Is there Illuminati in each one? That's a good question. That goes back to Kang and Loki. I don't know. I think in some universes that's left out. Amped, what'd you say? Yeah, OJ has skill. Yeah. Rudy Gay, no, it wasn't Gay. It was that other guard. Gay was a forward in college at Memphis. But this guy went to Memphis too. He was a guard. He was a big guard though. Can't think of his name. Not Rudy Gay though. I found there are too many numbers going to all these teams. I've had better luck with sticking to scripts and storylines. Yeah, that's the way I look at it too. That's why, especially in the fall, I watch all the talking heads because the talking heads kind of give it up. And if you watch enough of it, you'll be able to catch, kind of what they're pointing everything to. Yep, that's kind of how I do it too. Gematria Raiders 74 and Gematria Pirates Super Bowl in 74 and Gematria Gruden Super Bowl 74. Brady going to be 74. That's a good breakdown, CWE. That's just my predictions. Okay. I have to sit down and look at once the squads all get together. I'll do one before the season. So I'll do that breakdown too because that, I want to see who's going to be where. And, we get these early trades out the way. And I want to break down too. Yeah, he's put some good information out. Look at all that goodness in there. That's Sugarite. Healing Sugarite. I've been like 6 years. 6 years of Sugarite water. So let me do the divination. I didn't do it yesterday, so I will do it today. So today is 13 platoons, 0 cartoons, 8 tunes. We have 13 Uno, and we'll be on 2 kin. And 2 kin would be Ik. Spirit, breath, wind, cosmic energy, inspiration, vital principle, respiratory system, and the energy is going towards the north. For those of you that like the fractals, that is the fractal. In the Toltec, which is close to the Toltec, yeah, close to the mind as well. It's one of my favorite kind of energies because this is kind of the energy I am. Would be, there's better lighting, is Iquato. In this card's image, we see a medicine man devoted to the code of Iquato, which we know because of the bird-like mask. He is wearing the bird's beak, which is a representation of the wind's currents. The plumed serpent is in its head, tells us he's meditating on conciliation of the opposites, the meaning of the feathered serpent. In his skirt, we see a single circle signifying the number 1, representing the ultimate oneness. He is seated on a jaguar skin, which represents power and the capacity for spiritual visions. Getting this card is a meaningful invitation to realize that you are always surrounded by the sacred presence of the Great Spirit. Iquato is everywhere all the time. Therefore, we have always had the choice of being aware of that, of entering to the state of tenomia, the practice of accepting the divinity within oneself. This is what the card is telling you to do. Make room in your life and in your heart for the Great Spirit. Give yourself the time and space to practice tenomia. Tenomia translates as having God within oneself and can be understood as the meditative states that leads to the experience of overcoming the false perception of the separation from the source. This is not a trivial topic. The separation from source is at the very basis of our constant state of fear and anguish about living in an ever-changing world. The fundamental experience of separateness sustains all our anguishes about separation from mother, father, home, from the long lost partner, and so on. We can only perceive a significant and extraordinary difference when our ego surrenders and our awareness is lifted to the pure understanding of a perennial state of oneness with the Great Spirit. So I give freely. So that would be the meaning that the energy is going to be from the north. And I'll tell you, since I practice the daily movement of the prayer, it really has pushed me. It really has opened up a lot. It's like the ancestors have agreed. Yeah. So I'm doing something right. But it's funny. What's funny is what is funny is that when I talk about going down these hallways, the interesting thing is the further you go and the more steps you take into full awareness, there's more eyes on you. And the thing is again, I went into awareness one time and I opened my eyes. There's this giant head right there waiting for me. And they try to see if that scares you, of course. And I just remember looking like, oh, okay, one of these kind of things. And a lot of times you recognize them and they melt away. But as you go through, you'll see faces that want you to recognize them. And when you recognize them, they know how aware you are and where you're at. So when you go into these meditative trance states, because that's really, people say meditation, you actually want to go to transing. You do want to trance. And trancing gets you deeper in. So not sleep, but actually trancing. Also, the Raiders camp is a great FEMA camp. I don't think the Raiders are going to win this year. I don't either. I don't know if they're going to give Gruden another one. Raiders to a new stadium. They gain something. I wish Rodgers went to the Raiders. That could be. Super 56 will be February 6th. So that would be 2-6, 26, 2-6. And Raiders 2-22, 2 equals 6. Las Vegas Raiders to the Los Angeles Raiders, 84. Last season they won. Yeah, that's and he had to sue him so they could let him go. And really the USFL should still be. Now you're talking about judges taking a stand against the USFL, where the USFL won their case against the NFL, and they didn't reward the money to destroy the NFL, to make the NFL take those teams in. Instead, they insulted it. So it was an inside job. Somewhere in that jury pool or whoever made the decision insulted, because the USFL should have still been a viable league. Revenge for Luck game might happen. The revenge for the Tuck game might happen. That's a good point. So the Olympics is a big thing this year. I have, my extra package. I got all that NBC stuff. It's more you can pay for, but I got a lot of it. I think I have 8 NBC channels, so it's not too much I can't watch. Like I mentioned last night, I love watching the surfing. The surfing was really cool, but again, it's all scripted. So, like, I don't imagine people are betting on the hammer throw. Does anybody know? I keep thinking that Ben Johnson, when he got disqualified, he ran an 8.99. Am I right on that? Do I remember right? Seemed like he ran an 8 something, and nobody else has ran that for the 100 meters. I could be wrong. Seemed like he ran an 8 something, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong. What do you think about Simone Biles dropping out? It's all scripted. It was like I said before, it was scripted. I don't think they felt that she would get the backlash that came from just skipping the 1 finals. I think that was the initial thing, is she was just going to skip the 1 finals and not go into, because again, they want her for ratings, because these ratings ain't that great for it, especially with no fans there. The ratings ain't that great. So I think they needed her for ratings, but they got such a backlash that I thought they like, well, we better get rid of her. So it's scripted. That's all. It's like somebody wrote last night. It's her shame ritual. It's her shaming ritual. So that's the shaming ritual of shaming an American sister, melanated person, original, whatever you want to call it. But that's all. So it ain't gonna make her any less. They're gonna have more finals in the fall that she can go to, world championships. So it's just a temporary thing with her. That's all. But it's a shaming ritual. That's all they trying to get to her pockets too. So just a shaming ritual. You remember she had all the commercials. She had the one where she's flipping through a restaurant, which is demeaning to me. It's like I heard pro football players at one time talking about how they didn't want to be in their uniforms in a commercial. They wanted to be seen as a man and not just a person in the suit. And here she's flipping to go get her order. I don't know. It made me think of hearing that conversation with some dudes one time. Like they turned down commercials because they didn't want to be in their football suits. Jed Corey, thank you for joining. If it's like the Matrix, it's barely holding on. Nobody cares about sports of athletes allegations anymore. That's a good point. This year they shame the U.S. because they are getting their asses beat in the games. Well, I think this is Luka's Olympics. That's what I think he's gonna take Slovakia to the finals. They might prove me wrong, but that's what it appears like. But it's all about by 2050 to have 50% foreign-born players in the NBA and 50% Americans. So, but I don't know if you guys watch the TNT games. I've been watching them, where most of the players will get between 60 and 80,000 if they win. The losing team get money too. They don't want to tell you that, but they get money too. But we see Puma, all of them wearing Puma uniforms. We see in the Ball Puma commercial. So that's the cool thing. Like, it ain't a lot of foreigners playing in that. I'll say that. And it's more American Europeans playing in that. Because, again, if you follow my work, since the 70s, they stopped American players going to the NBA in favor of the European players. So American players was put on the shelves, but they was bringing these European players over, which made no sense, where they shelved the American players in favor of bringing players from Europe, which makes no sense other than Stern, the JFP, wanting to have a world game. But Stern was the one that really pushed for that, to bring them people from Europe. Because I'm not saying players that play in lower divisions, minor leagues can't rise up, but there was never a need for any player from Europe. Not one, not even Dirk, not any of them were ever needed here. And you can't say they were better, because they weren't. Because Dirk was given 2-3 years, same as the Greek Freak, same as most of them. They weren't better. Even Tony Kukoc, it was Americans just as good. And every time one of them foreigners come over, that means American player got to go play over there, go play in China, go play in the G League. But there's more opportunities. There's World 3-on-3, which is a great thing. I mean, there are more opportunities. Matter of fact, the Pro-Am League started here. I played a couple years, long time ago. That's probably, you see, my son is 26. About 23 to 25 years ago, I played in the Pro-Am. So that long ago. But it started this year. They didn't have it last year. They had it this year. I didn't know if Royce White, Rodney Williams, and Shadi. Last I know, Shadi was playing ball in Turkey, they said. So I first noticed that with Paige and Diva. Yep. Oh, neither one of them, definitely. Remember, and they sacrificed that dude who played for the Nets. They sacrificed him. Remember him that they sacrificed? They sacrificed him in a car crash in Europe. So they got their blood for Europeans in that cat. Said he died in a car accident. Dude gets about an inch off the ground. That's funny. Kevin Durant's been the first on-time scoring list for men's team yesterday, 5 points away past Carmelo. Yeah, Carmelo was a great Olympic player. He only lost one Olympic, I think. I was just asking because the lady faking death on the grounds was totally crazy. He ain't in shape. He's a little pudge. He definitely didn't come in shape this year. No. But they let him get in playing shape. And he was frustrated this year because he wasn't getting the calls. So he's like, wait, what happened? You was giving me calls last year, but most games he got the calls. CW, I'm not a robot. Yeah, no, you're not. When do you think Biden will be dismissed and Carmelo will take over? Ooh, that is any day now. I'm pretty much thinking any day now. What is that one was like, yes, I wipe my butt? What was that shit he was saying? Yes, I wipe my butt. What? Somebody ask you about your butt, Joe? But the amount, this is what gets me about my Biden. Like my mother, for example, she forgave Biden for the crime bill because she said he apologized. There's still niggas in prison because of that crime bill. Still in prison because of that crime bill. Clinton tried to apologize. He apologized. They didn't forgive Hillary for that, but they forgave this cat. So I don't know. I think the deal was already to get her in. So I think depending on how the elections next year come out, when the midway, the 2-year elections come, and you see how they did it, how they got the House of Representatives always changing, but them senators get 6 years. The senators get more years than the president, and that should be up for stopping that. That's what, if the people fight anything of the government, that should be stopped too. That should be stopped because being a senator should not be a lifetime position, and that's what it is. And I know people say, well, they get reelected. Well, you look at that old thing in Kentucky, and he brings $1 billion for 40 years. He's bringing $1 billion to Kentucky. It's kind of hard to beat. It's kind of hard to beat when that person is doing that. That is a hard thing to beat. So Biden crazy. Our older generations always forgive. Yeah, I say that's one thing Jason Black says is a lot of the civil rights people are like, I mean, they're some of the biggest toms that ever you saw. Is like you saw all these people on this civil rights and marching, and you never saw the Panthers marching. Not really. You didn't see the Panthers marching like that. And the Panthers was the FBI. Most of the players was FBI, but at least they had clashes with the cops. They clashed with them quite a bit. They had some shootouts with them quite a bit. Hey, Jack, thank you for joining. People really believe in Luka is good playing slow like that. He helped by systems, Rex, and lack of definitely a lack of defense. Definitely a lack of defense. Hey, Green Onions, thank you for joining me. So senators don't have an election limit. No, they don't. They should, though. And because they did it to the states. They did it to the states because they got tired of dealing with strong states. So now they spin them in the states because before term limits with states were strong. And so they made the states do that, but they don't want to do that. So they should be turned over just like these other people every 2 years. All of them should be turned over. They have the truth, but not when they have HIV/AIDS. Yeah. How you feel about NBA players throwing up satanic hand signals? Yeah, that ain't going away. Yeah, that ain't going away. But that's what they were saying about Benji Wilson before he got killed. They were saying he was throwing up, hand signs while he was hooping. So, he was throwing up, I don't know which gang he was affiliated with, but he was throwing up hand signs. He dunk and then throw up hand signs. He running down the court, throwing up gang signs. So, yeah, they've been doing that for a long time, especially since the three, everybody wants to do it. Yeah, they show their affiliations. I mean, one video they took down that I know I can't get is, I had that, those who watch my other channel, I had that thing that showed Reggie Miller throwing. I mean, Reggie Miller was like playing a piano with his hands. He throws so many signs. I can't get that back. But I caught Reggie Miller throwing at least 6, 7 signs. I mean, he was all Mason signs throwing them. So a lot of that upset a lot of people too. It's like, how do you know that? Yeah, watching. States will be fully took over by the government overhaul. Soon the states will be fully took over. Yeah, it's probably going to be a completely federal system. Kobe was throwing up the triangle. Yes, he was. Is Jordan the best player in basketball history? Well, that's a hard thing to say because a lot of people could look at what Dr. J did to the ABA and say Dr. J had a greater burden. Dr. J took a league on his back and kept it going. I think it was only 6 teams Yeah, it was San Antonio, the Nets, Denver. I want to say St. Louis was still in there, Kentucky, and I'm missing one more. But there was only about 6 teams, and Dr. J kept that shit afloat. Jordan didn't do that. Jordan didn't keep a whole league together. Dr. J did. And so them last 2-3 years when Dr. J played in the ABA, he kept it afloat. And people don't forget that the court stopped Dr. J from going to Atlanta and playing with Pistol Pete. Because if you ever see pictures with Dr. J wearing Atlanta, Dr. J jumped out and jumped to the NBA. And the court stopped him and made him go back to the Nets. I don't know if people remember that. But you can look up pictures of Dr. J in Atlanta uniform. He played some games with Atlanta preseason. And the courts upheld his contract with the Nets and made him go back to the Nets. So he wouldn't have went to Philadelphia. So they should tell everyone they're on crazy pills. That's funny. So I don't know. David Thompson, the year or two he played in the ABA, drugs kind of taking away his ability. David Thompson's only 6'4". He might be listed taller, but he's only about 6'4". But I mean, he was a storm. I mean, Gerving's years. I mean, they didn't let Gerving win, but even Magic. You can even look at Magic. I mean, Magic career is very favorable to Michael's. And then I don't put Michael over Kareem, and don't put Mike over Wilt. I think Wilt's still the best player. Wilt got the most records. Now a lot of people got on Wilt, say Wilt, didn't have that dog to just kill people, but it's all scripted. But Wilt, I mean, they changed goaltending. They changed you can't go over the free throw line. I mean, look at all the rules they changed for Wilt. Now, granted, he played against less teams, but he devastated them less teams. I mean, no one will ever average 50 and 30 rebounds. It might be even more than 30, but no one will ever average 50 points a game over 86 games and scored 100. But he averaged something like 30 rebounds too. And they didn't even count blocks. They didn't count blocks, I think, to the 70s. When they do Wilt's blocks, they got to go back and watch in film. And a lot of them games ain't on film. And then Kareem got just as many titles. Better college career. Kareem is probably the greatest college player ever. Hell, if Kareem could have played as a freshman, they would have won it that year too. Because the freshman team, when Kareem was a freshman, they beat the team. The freshman team beat the team that won the Final Four the year before. That's why they took the dunk out of basketball for 20-some years, was because of Kareem. And Kareem said, okay, I'll develop another shot. And he still dominated. They took out the thing that they thought made him dominate, and he still dominated. So if you look at from college to pro, Kareem had the better college career and and played longer than Jordan. And still, Kareem is the all-time leading scorer. And Kareem played in the modern league too. So I don't know. I don't put Kareem over Jordan. Now, Jordan was more flashy with the dunks and stuff. But if you want to say, now Jordan has a playoff averages higher than Kareem. I think Jordan's, how did they do that? Jordan's scoring average, I think, was higher during the regular season. I think is how that went. But not overall points. So, yeah, they definitely didn't want Dr. J. Now the Bucks came in. I want to say the Bucks and Phoenix came in together, and it was a coin toss on who. The coin toss was who's going to be first and second, and the Bucks won the coin toss, so they got Kareem. Connie Hawkins went to the Suns, and Connie Hawkins was damn near 30 years old. I think he was 28 years old when he went into the league because they banned him. Yeah, they definitely didn't want Dr. J and Pistol Pete because I think Lou Hudson was still there. They would have had a pretty decent team. Amp says he gives it to Kareem. Wilt definitely was a generational talent. Yeah, and it wasn't just because he was tall. He was a great athlete. I mean, Kareem was an athlete, And I can't say Jordan wasn't. He played baseball. I don't think he ever played football, but he played baseball. So he athletic. Bill Russell's ratings are tainted. Yeah. Bill Russell wasn't like – the first time Wilt faced Bill Russell, he scored 56 points on him. He destroyed him. and they had it scripted for Russell to win. So they had it scripted for Russell. Oh, that's a good point, CJ Jordan. CJ Jordan said Jordan brought the you can build around a wing player because before it was centers. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point. Yep. Not saying these players aren't talented, but you notice how certain teams always win it and others can't. Yeah, that's how Wilt was. Because Wilt was beating the Western or Eastern Conference final every year, except 67 by Boston. So Wilt was making it, but Wilt didn't have as good a team. Celtics had a super team. There was only eight teams. Yeah, they won it 8 years in a row. They won it 8 years in a row. Yep. And for some reason, they thought that kept the league going. Hey, Nate Robertson, Society of Jesus equals 56, Phoenix Suns 56, and the Bucks 56. There you go. They came in together. Yeah, 1970 was their first year, so I'm pretty sure both teams was new teams. Why they put a pro team in Milwaukee, I don't know. The Braves left Milwaukee, remember, and then they brought in the Brewers. It's I don't know. I just left driving through Wisconsin, and I didn't know that dude got stopped in Wisconsin. The one he said the bag was thrown in. But I'll tell you this about Wisconsin: if you get stopped in Wisconsin, you better have your credit card better have some juice on it, or you better have some way of paying, because if you have out of state in Wisconsin, they'll take you to jail if you can't pay. If you can't pay, they take you into the jail, and whenever you can go to court, they put you in court, but they make you stay until you can pay your fines. Wisconsin does not play. So that's why they let you go 70, but when I went through Wisconsin the first time, I think in the whole state, because most of the ride is through Wisconsin, I think for the 7 hours we drove through Wisconsin, I saw no less than 80 cars. In 7 hours, I saw no less than 80 police cars. So they are serious. So you go 75, you're cool, but if you go 80, that's your ass. Then you get into Illinois, you might not even see a car. When I went through Illinois, I didn't even see a car. When I went through Michigan, or Indiana, I didn't see any cars. And when I went through Michigan, because we came through in the night, didn't see any cars. So Wisconsin trying to get theirs. They do a lot of traffic in Wisconsin. It was about talent. Durant would be the GOAT of the league and not LeBron. Well, a little different in age too. A little different in age. He's a little younger, about 6-7 years younger. KD is the best player in some ways. Yeah, I see in some ways he was more of a threat, big dude that can shoot. So, well, I'm at the 2-hour mark. Probably going to shut it down, guys. I appreciate everybody that came through. What do you mean stop? Anybody who played ball can see KD as the most talented offensive player. I see him as kind of a continuation of the Dirk type of ability he has, where he can get his shot off on anybody. So, and even as a bigger player, as he's aged, again, that Dirk shot has helped a lot of bigger dudes, and he can do that. Which NBA prospect you like in tonight's draft? I don't know. I mean, the guy that's going to be picked was decent. Again, that guy's not that big. Very good talent. So I don't know. I'm kind of I can't really say. The guy from here is going to get drafted in the lottery. Guzman, is that his name? The young player that played at Gonzaga. He's going to go because he played with Master P's son the season before, late from Minnehaha. Yeah, Minnehaha Academy, I think it's called, where the top player is going to Gonzaga next year. Top player, the 7-footer. Wait till you guys see that cat play. That cat can go. When you see him play next winter, Jason Kidd strapped him up. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know which one. So as I end, I'll give everybody a little time walking information. And so one thing that the time walkers would say was Mora, and Mora was kind of a way to uplift each other. And so it all starts with a gentle sadness. They came from their original homeland. They knew that they had the exact number of years and days before they would disappear off the earth as a culture and a lifestyle. But then the civilization would build to a gentle love. They lived in the Creator's day and knew how to separate cycles in the great serpent. And as the Mayans would say, I am another yourself. So thank you. This has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host. Eight Wind is Timeless. Thank you for coming on the Galactic Patio. Till we meet again.